Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mad Mooks. My name is Sim. Along with me are my co-hosts, Sheikh Amir Saeed, His Holiness, the host of Sultans and Sneakers, Mahin. There he is. And then there is Muzzy Buzz.
Black
Mort.
Power.
How y'all
BLM,
doing?
baby.
Ahlan welcome.
Ahlan, welcome.
Good to be back.
Why do you always do it? You know, you almost, every time the Arabic, Ahlan wa sahlan.
He has to change his face and everything.
He's like,
Yani.
he's enjoying that. What's wrong with
Ya
that?
Shabab, look.
Yeah, Shabab.
Look,
You're Shibam City.
look. The language of the belief is the Lughat al-Arabiya, as they say. That's all the Arabic I know.
By the way, since he mentioned Shibham, just a quick notice. If any of you guys can donate to Yemen, make sure you guys do because
Yemen.
it's horrible there right now. Like, no joke. Like, I think a baby is dying every 10 days. Like,
Really?
because of starvation. And, like, it's really bad. So, if there's any and the thing about Yemen, they won't complain. You know, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but a lot of people go out and cry and rally. You'll find all those Yemenis, they'll say, Alhamdulillah. You know, they won't.
What part of Yemen is actually struggling?
I
know,
it's
but
generally
I
in
want
the north part of Yemen, but I mean, even the south, all of it suffers when there's a war going on. When you have an embargo, when you have a stopping of aid, when you have, there's no central bank. The whole thing is collapsed.
Yeah.
There's no economy anymore. There's no business. And now they've got COVID to deal with. It's spread over there. So if you can't donate money, at least, you know, your dua, that Allah alleviates their...
Can you recommend a
I'll give it to
organization
you
to do?
for the bio, for the link. I'll put it in there for you guys.
Okay, put in the link and, well,
Yeah.
I hate to ask for Patreon money now after that kind of... But a couple
you're
bucks
not-
a month. We're not asking
You're
for
not important, dude.
We're not asking for Yemen type money. We're talking about a couple bucks a month. Help us out, whatever you can. Father's Day just came, and my father, I have to thank, he built an entire washroom for our guests over here in our new space. Sayyid Shahid Munir, thank you so much. You're
Yes.
the best dad.
We should get him on sometime, man. He's an amazing person.
Yeah, he completely built that whole washroom. You guys saw it yourself. So, I mean,
Yeah, and it's because of
built it
him
from
that
scratch,
he was
but-
born in the deserts of Medina.
Yeah, that's right.
But he said, you know what? Save your patrons money. Just pay for the parts and the supplies. So we got a lot of the
Alhamdulillah.
supplies utilizing Patreon money. So
Inshallah.
that's where your money goes to. Otherwise, we also help out other organizations wherever we can. Some of the scholars who come, who we know, they're taking out their time to come. Sometimes we'll give them a few bucks and help them out with that. All right, fellas, we've had an interesting few months, and this is our first roundtable.
Yes.
We haven't sat down together in almost a year. I
Feels
think.
weird, man.
Hey, I don't
It
think we're
seems-
social distancing properly enough.
I am. I'm 6 feet away from all
Yeah, I
you
know.
guys.
Let me just scoot a little over.
Yeah, I don't think anyone cares about Corona anymore. We're just done now. Like,
People are sick of it now, man.
I think they are, and I think it's not that they don't think it's a threat, or it's just like what's viable, what can actually be realistically done to safeguard your health. And people are just trying to say, okay, well, you know what, we're not going to shake hands. We didn't shake hands when you guys came in, but we're doing our best to take all the precautions. We got a whole lot of I think alcohol wipes
the
and
biggest
stuff.
thing though is that like people who have young kids or immunocompromised people in their homes, they have to take extra caution,
Right.
right? Because you have to know your household and what you're being exposed to, because there are levels of exposure, right? Like there's depending how many people you meet, where you go, what are you doing, what are you touching, that kind of stuff. I think if you're smart, we can get through it. But a lot of people, like, I don't know if you saw this, but the Trump rally, like, dude, these guys are just like standing next to each other. They're dancing. I mean, they were dancing to Billie Jean. I don't know if you saw that. It's the most stupid
Billie
thing.
Jean, the Michael Jackson?
Yeah,
Billie
bro, and
Jean?
they were doing like a cowboy dance, like three guys.
But was it like 6,200 people showed up to that rally?
It was supposed to be like 1 million, and it was like nobody.
Yeah,
Because apparently TikTok.
I heard Trump was upset about that.
Yeah,
he was. Did you see that? You know what they did? They had they had a video of him walking off the helicopter where like he had his tie undone, and somebody put a Johnny Cash song to it. Where It's on Twitter, but I mean, I'm not saying I still think that Donald Trump is gonna win. That's just my take. That man has a bunch of tricks up his sleeve. But it's just funny to see him get pissed because he hates it. Donald Trump hates when he looks bad in the media. He's such a narcissist that he gets so pissed. Like, when he was walking down the thing at West Point, he was so hurt by the commentary people were saying because like, oh, look at him walking down so slow. He's got some problems with him, right? And he goes, no, the thing was very steep. It was slippery. I had leather shoes on, and I even ran off at the end, and so but for a whole week and a half, he's like ranting about it on Twitter. I'm like, dude, we would have forgot about it, bro. Like, but now because of that, people made memes of you. The one guy put, the ring that babies wear in the pool with the ducky?
Yeah,
put it around
the
them.
floater. Yeah.
But anyway,
he's very entertaining to listen to.
That's a separate issue, but
he's
it's just
so
funny,
entertaining
man.
to listen to, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, I'm excited. I think election year and like 2020, I love it. When November comes along, dude, I love. You know why? And one thing though, I think no matter what happens, we'll win, because if Trump, even if he wins, like that look of those Democrats, the hardcore Democrats, that crying face they make when they lose is priceless, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched a compilation of crying videos of like really extremist leftists. Like they were like, no, like they were crying.
The
way things are going, 2020. What do you guys think is going to happen when he becomes president? What do you think the other side's going to do?
The re-election?
Not re-election. What do you think the reaction is going to be if he becomes president?
What does Tim think?
Probably more riots.
Well, there's going to be a narrative that's going to play out that there's a hidden racist element within America that is helping him out, and to a certain extent there is, but I don't see that.
But what do you think Trump will do? Because we think he's going to get reelected.
Okay. So if he gets reelected, I mean, he's still a part of the machine. He can't do much other than, for example, the Muslim ban. Remember that? Yeah. Now, he framed that as the Muslim ban. Before, Obama called it the axis of evil or something like that, or not axis of evil, but countries that are not, it was a much more politically correct term.
Yeah.
So he's still very confined to what the system allows him to do. Now, we're going to see much more problems, with regards to cabinet members like Betsy DeVos and them, like, people who are appointees of his that are supposed to be not in power. They literally bought their way to
Just
power.
1 second. I think there's too much static on the thing. Maybe it's somebody's fault. There we go.
It's probably yours.
So no, I'm saying, because all of the reaction that we see now, in the past month, and people, obviously from the side of the Democrats and the left, and the extreme left, what do you think their reaction is going to be? Because they're not going to be happy with it, obviously.
It's not like they can do anything.
Do you think it's going to be like the same type of protests and like rioting and type stuff?
I don't think so. I think we're still this all depends on a whole lot of conditions, like economic conditions and what the situation of the job market is at that point in time, because the things are de-escalating or devolving very quickly with how things are being handled with the quarantine and lockdown. So it depends on how many businesses are shut down. We haven't seen the aftermath of, when you after a war, you do an assessment of how much damage has happened to the infrastructure. This is not literally, but this is very much like that. We were fighting a war against something that's invisible, and we're kind of sacrificing certain sectors of the economy to fight against it, right? So once we determine all that fallout, then we can say, oh well, it's like, because you can't still tell. I know you guys are predicting Trump to win, but I still can't say it for certainty, because if the job market is still doing decent, or he's able to pull it up a little bit. And right now, he won over a lot of suburban people when the riots spread into the suburbs. That was such a bad thing. I was so worried when that was happening, because the Americans, they're fine with protests. They want law and order. Now, when that breaks down, and he acts like a strong man, and he puts his foot down, threatening the National Guard and everything to come in, then we have problems.
So what I did was, I was at sheer boredom. December 31st, New Year's Eve, in 2019, I made my predictions for 2020. and the states, and I have it. I'll send it to you guys when I get back to the computer. But I calculated all the states that Obama won, and then what Hillary lost, and what they should have won, and the current trajectory right now.
Was Ohio one of them?
Huh?
Ohio was one of them, right?
No, Ohio's always the battleground. But like states like Michigan, states like Minnesota, Wisconsin, right? States like that, Pennsylvania, that they should have won, they lost, right? And these states are overwhelmingly blue now. Like they're just blue. And even Ohio is in the dwindle. Florida is in the dwindle right now, right? There are, but this is what I predict. If he continues under the current trajectory, he will lose by a small minority, majority. I mean, like he's just gonna. I mean, it's not gonna be a big one, but he'll lose. But the problem though is that people in America are easy to confuse, dude. Like instead of saying, you know what, I'm not gonna give you $1,500 a month now for COVID. You know, I'm gonna give you $4,000 a month. I mean, every 2 weeks, whatever. Or $4,000 a month. I'm sorry, right? And plus $500 for every kid. You don't think that's going to make him? He's basically can buy an election under the guise of federal aid, right? Because of the disaster. You don't think if you got like an extra $4,000 a month from him, like you won't likely. Oh, of course, I'm gonna vote.
Sure.
Money,
No
cream,
doubt.
baby, cash rules everything around me. Cream, right? So. I mean, people think like that, right?
Well, and he's making sure you know it too, because he's sending everyone the letter.
Yeah,
like, hey, guess what?
Dude, listen to this. For the first time, it's not the U.S. Department of Treasury that signed. He has his John Hancock on there. Like, he literally, his copy of his signature is on these checks to remind them, hey, the big boss man sent you these checks because I love you.
Yeah.
I love you so much. Daddy loves you.
Letters.
Here's his check. Right?
So do you think he's going to try to extend the CARES Act too, past July?
He may do something about DACA. Like, you know how it's blocked. He may formulate that. Mm-hmm. He may lift some China travel or trade restrictions. He may make things better for Mexico. I mean, you know how they replaced NAFTA with USMCA. He may do. There's a lot of things he can pull because he said so many ridiculous things.
Yeah.
Actually, he's got to appoint possibly. I mean, it would be crazy if Ruth, the Supreme Court judge, she dies, bro. While he's getting elected, he gets to appoint like a moderate or liberal Supreme Court justice, and he's good, bro. You know what I mean? Like they would love
because that's the whole tipping point. So a lot of people who are like, they're like Biden sucks, but they're like, we still got to vote for Biden because Trump's gonna put some nutcase in there when Ginsburg died.
And don't forget the circuit court judges were around 100 and some odd judges he appointed. Right. So that's a huge number. Also, the other thing is you got to think about is, what is he doing for the black community? There's a lot of positive response for what he's doing. Like, for example, he is,
for Trump,
the three strike rule, like the criminal justice reform that he just now introduced in light of, this whole shooting thing and everything.
Dude, he's not getting the black vote.
Majority of them will not vote for him, but it doesn't take the majority, right? Black people make such a difference in the voting stream, even though they're only 14%. They make such a difference in the voting that if they get that and a little of independence, and I'm talking about you're taking a little from everywhere. Right? Some Democrats who are blue dog Democrats, some independents, some liberals who don't like Joe Biden because they hate how the Democrats. Some Democrats didn't even vote last time because they were so pissed that the DNC stole it from Bernie.
Yeah.
Right? So they're like, what do we have to lose? Let's just vote for Trump one more time and get it done. I'm saying those little things can change an election, bro. He won by 16,000 votes or 17,000 votes. That's all he won by. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not that. It's not that he didn't win by a lot. And everyone is saying this last time around. They were saying, "Oh, it was supposed to be a landslide. Hillary Clinton was going to win." Yeah, they said that like a year before. But as it got closer and closer, all the analysts said, "Hey, this is a 3 to 5% margin plus minus," and he won it within that margin. They were accurate. These polls are real. People started believing polls are fake because he's dominated the media narrative. You always hear fake news, fake media, fake news. Even people on the left are saying fake news, right? It's become a trend that people they have such a distrust in the polling system in the news. But the reality is, people on his campaign, they trust this news.
Yeah.
They trust these these polls. They rely on them to see how he's doing, right? So keep that in mind too. He has a lot of tricks up his sleeve that he can do. Still now, he hasn't lost it. And at the end of the day, another big factor is that Joe Biden is an utter retard. He's stupid. Like, he doesn't know whether
He's like a walking corpse, man.
Dude, he doesn't know if he's. I heard him at a campaign fundraiser where he kept saying, "I'm running for Senate." Bro, you're running for the president. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I don't even. Anytime he's on, I just change it. I can't see it.
Wait,
bro.
more. Well, who's your prediction for his running mate? Because they're saying that if he gets a far left
he's thinking of black
person,
woman.
Kamala?
or Kamala Harris.
No. I think you know why? It was just, you know what the problem with that is that she crapped on him too bad.
Oh, did she?
The busing stuff. Remember the first debate? She
Yeah.
went hard at him, bro.
I don't think that anyone takes that personally.
Oh,
dude.
they did, dude. That's what made her skyrocket in the beginning.
Dude, no, everything in the campaign trail. No, you're not supposed to take any of that personally. Like you're not supposed to settle political scores with what they say. Everything's on.
In that case, dude, if that's the case, I mean, if you really believe that's okay, dude, you could have just taken Bernie Sanders and people would just vote for you, bro. Because Bernie Sanders are die hard, like Bernie,
Yeah.
right? But the problem is he shot himself in the foot because he said, "I'm going to pick a woman."
Yeah.
You know, right?
So,
You dummy.
Yeah.
Like, why did you say that? You know what I mean? Like, you're catering that far.
Klobuchar said she's not going to do it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't agree with him. I mean, you can't.
Who's that? Elizabeth Warren might be, right?
No, Elizabeth Warren will do it. But you know who else is gonna do? Who is that? Oh my God, that black woman out
Stacey
of
Abrams from Georgia.
Yeah. But she had some. She was really gonna move into it, I think. But then this whole issue on Law and Order thing, where she had a staunch disagreement with him on that, and I think that might. And she's very principled, right? So I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe he might pick a. Well, what if he picks a black woman like Ilhan Omar? I don't know,
No.
but I doubt it'll happen. I mean, yeah, no, but what I'm saying though, it's gonna be some woman that we never really heard of, an up and coming star. I try to look him up. I don't know who.
The
it is
Sarah
right
Palin
now.
of the Democratic Party is essentially what you're saying.
Yeah.
Listen, the
There.
Democratic Party is just destroyed, just like the Republicans are destroyed. You know why? I'm telling you, after Trump wins this election, 2024, mark my words, everyone out there, you will see the most liberal president ever in the history of this
You
country.
think so?
100%. Dude, Trump has effectively destroyed the Republican Party. How do you go back to a typical, like, a Marco Rubio or like a Ted Cruz or a Rand Paul? How do you go back to a normal Republican after
You
having
sold your
Trump
soul,
in
man.
office?
You sold your soul for 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
like, so how do you go back to having a moderate? Dude, it's like having, like, I don't know. Imagine driving a V8 and going to a 4-cylinder. How do you do that? You can't do that anymore.
All right, boys. We discussed the politics of Ahlul
It's the
Kufar.
fifth of Siyasiya.
Ahlul Kufar has had its share at 15 minutes. Okay, let's move on to.
I know you want to talk about this Ramadan, like this reflection, right?
No, yeah. So there's a lot of
Oh,
stuff
you
that
did Ramadan during COVID?
No.
Oh. I didn't
He's
either.
like,
Wait.
Wait,
He's like,
everything was canceled, bro.
even fasting.
Yeah, bro. Oh.
Yeah.
What?
I didn't
So-
get that memo.
What are we talking about?
I don't
I'm
know.
so confused. Speaking about Americans being so easily confused, I'm really confused.
Yeah, Shabab, we
Okay,
let's
guys,
get
I
serious.
think we're segueing too quickly for Sheikh Amr. So we talked about politics. Now we want to talk about Ramadan that was on his mind.
So what's the Ramadan that's on your mind?
I didn't say anything about Ramadan.
No, I was thinking about
said
like
something about
no. Remember in Ramadan, part of the topics today was like Ramadan. There's the brother who like somebody.
Oh
who had
yes,
lost,
yeah. So we were talking about building, figuring out what Allah Subhanahu wa Taala wants, and each one of us, I asked you guys to kind of think about how you communicate with God in terms of how you know. One of the things I always see on Twitter is some of the young shabab on Twitter and Muslim Twitter. They're always saying, "Hey, please make dua for me. It's my exams, right?"
Young shabab.
The shababis.
Shabab. Kebab, you shababis.
You guys are racist. Anyway.
You're such a goof, dude.
So a lot of times you see them, make dua. They're making dua like crazy for doing well on their exams and I remember being in college or high school in their situation when I didn't study for an exam, and I would have this weird relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala contingent on how I do on the exam, and then I would say, all right, well, if my du'as are accepted and I end up doing well for an exam that I didn't prepare for, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy with me and he helped me out in the exam. And, you know, depending on how, like, that relationship. And then, for example, what I was telling Mahin was I saw we all have like different glimpses of how people talk about, well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did this and that happened, you know? So for, in this case, there was this one brother who was saying, in Ramadan, I wasn't very strong on my ibadah, and in the days afterwards, I got sick and I wasn't able, or I wasn't able to.
I think I didn't give enough charity.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he said I didn't give enough charity and I lost my job. So, and I realized like there is this screwy thinking, and I don't know if it's in the Arab world as well, but I know because we live among Desis more, among our Desi family members, there's a lot of this kind of screwy thinking with the relation to how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has this punishing attitude for wherever you're short and whatever shortcomings you have.
Because it's never the opposite when your things are going well for you, man. Like, Allah's hooking me up kind of thing. You never hear that as much. Yeah. So I'll say the day before I got furloughed, I was getting like, because it was the day before Ramadan. So I was like, I got to get my Andy's frozen custard in before Ramadan starts. So I pulled into the drive-thru, and there's this lady there, like outside with her kids, like asking for money. Yeah. So I just like, I gotta go. I forgot what I was in a hurry somewhere, but then I was like, oh snaps, we get our furlough announcements tomorrow. I better get this lady $20. That way I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, so because I'd be like, if I drive, I thought it was like if I drove off and I, $20 no big deal. Then I still got furloughed though.
So, Sheikh, can you comment on this matter? Was his $20 not enough? Should he have given more?
I only had 20.
He's Republican, so we have to take into that effect.
My $20 really is $100 because
he probably gave him some advice. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps with this $20.
No, I think number one, there's a natural human feeling of a type of disparity that occurs when you're in a desperate situation, and we can't confuse that with what Allah's decision is. So what I mean by that is, from as far as default is concerned, protocol is that Allah is always going to do, number one, whatever He wants, and it has nothing to do with you being good or bad. Secondly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always does what's beneficial for the human being, even if they're in a difficult situation or they see it as difficulty. So number one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always going to do whatever He wills, and that has nothing to do with us.
Yeah. Like, we shouldn't make dua then. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
So
because you just said that he can do whatever he wants.
I mean, the minimum prayer is what you're basically we should pray.
Everything. The reason what I'm trying to say is everything is Allah's decision. We're not. We shouldn't be so self-centered that we think that everything we do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is out to get us.
So here I was kind of joking, but I was a little bit serious too, because I'm giving a lot of thought to this idea of dua and how much dua actually affects qadr, because obviously we don't know.
Some static, sorry dude, I keep hearing lots of static.
That's okay, that's just your mic being a little bit loud.
Okay,
that's fine. Yeah, so when we're talking about how dua actually changes what your projected course is in life, is there supposed to be a correction that happens in what is ordained for us, or do we just do it and we're kind of like throwing darts in the air and we just hope that one of these darts hits the target and gets accepted by Allah?
Very good. The reason why this is a separate thing. The reason why dua, it's a completely separate issue. But let's just talk about this issue first, which is number one, Allah does whatever He wants, and it has nothing to do with us. And I'll explain that further. The second is that whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does is for the benefit of the human being, even if it is cloaked with difficulty. Cool? Even if it's difficult, it's still benefit for the human being. Now, let's just take the example specifically. There's a brother that said, I didn't give charity and I lost my job after Ramadan. Was that a punishment from Allah?
Yeah.
Right? the first thing is, no, that's not a punishment from Allah. There's two spheres that we have to think about. Number one is whatever is not in our sphere of control is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Anything, even if it's our own health, if it's our own wealth, whether it's you being very, very vigilant while you're driving, it's somebody else's recklessness that can wreck you, right? Or your car. But then there's certain things that we do, right? And that's why in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alludes to the verse which is talking about Badr and Uhud. Where Badr, that was help from Allah. And whatever happens to us is from Allah anyway. But if we don't listen to commands and something happens to us, and if something follows through negative with that, Allah's teaching us a lesson of what we did. It still doesn't mean He's mad with us. Right? Or even Rasulullah, he wasn't mad at the Sahaba that you did this so you're going to Jahannam.
Wasn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mad at the Prophet for like he didn't say inshallah or something?
Or like
turning
away from the landmine?
No, it wasn't about being mad. So that's a whole different thing also.
Yeah.
Just let's explain this relationship thing.
Yeah.
Then we could talk about this quote unquote mad thing, right? So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do whatever He wants for our sake, for the only purpose that we just go back to Allah. It's actually that simple. Now, if somebody loses their job, that's a test from Allah. Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make that person think and remind, maybe he should have given more charity? Maybe, but that's not the reason that he lost his job. He lost his job because Allah just wanted to test him. That's it. Right? So the reason I'm saying that I prefaced it with Allah does whatever He wants, and by saying that Allah does everything that's for our benefit, is just because you don't do something, the inactivity of something, it doesn't mean Allah's angry with you, per se. He's just doing something that's for your benefit.
But what if you sin?
But it doesn't have to be related. It doesn't be connected. It doesn't have to be connected.
What if you do a sin? Let's just say in Ramadan, we just had Ramadan, and you broke your fast. You sinned.
Yeah, I knew this dude, man. He woke up and smashed his wife in Ramadan. And he asked me, like, oh, what do I do now? I'm like, yo, bro, you got to fast 60 straight days.
Or feed
but
people.
We're talking about mad here. We're talking about punishment. So look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's what He asks us to do certain things.
Did you just wake up horny?
Right?
Yep.
No, I'm just
He
curious.
did, yeah, man. He's rolled over like...
No, what I mean, was he like in his right...
kids are... Is this
No,
live
sorry.
right now? Is this live?
It's
No,
live.
I mean, was he in his right mind, like when he just did it? Because you know sometimes you just wake up and like, smash,
Yo,
right?
bro, like, you know, there's foreplay and stuff. It's like, it doesn't work. He thought about it, man.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just saying.
You
'cause
have to
sometimes-
think about it. You can't go to that extreme
No,
without thinking about it.
hey, bro. Sometimes you could just roll over, and you don't realize to have you halfway asleep. You know, you just roll over. But if you thought about it, it's then different. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I'm just shocked that you just, hey, screw it, forget Ramadan.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
Just tell them to have a
Just
Starburst
smash.
next time.
I think he just thought it was gonna be like a one-day makeup, because he came to be like, oh man, like
A lot of
what I
times
do.
people don't know what they're actually supposed to do.
I was like, yo, that's
No,
your
true.
problem though.
That's true though.
So let me ask you this. So like, let's say you don't know. That's basic. Like, you still gotta do it. You still gotta do the 60
Kafara?
days, right? Kafara.
Well, if somebody actually doesn't know it all and they actually learned that they're just supposed to make up that day, that's a whole different thing.
But isn't it their fault for not even knowing? Like ignorance is bliss. Like,
No,
it's like
not
you Muslim
really.
your whole life. How you not know this?
Yeah, because some people actually don't know.
No, because some people don't
You'd be
tell you the
surprised
fiqh-
how
I
many
mean-
people ask you that question every Ramadan, dude.
No, but I'll give you an example. Like, did your parents tell you about like the fiqh of business? You didn't know
No,
that, right?
no.
Like, I mean, my dad would never talk to me about marriage and what to do.
Yeah, no way. But I really wanted, this thing is lingering
Yeah, sorry,
because you
go
said
ahead.
wasn't Allah mad with Rasulullah. So
Yeah.
when the Mushrikeen al-Makkah, they basically sent a group of the Mushrikeen to rabbis, and they said, find out knowledge and information that Muhammad can't know, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we can ask him, we can stop his da'wah in his tracks, and we can humiliate him in front of our people. So these, I forgot the name of the mushrikeen, they went to the rabbis and they said, give us something that's not in the Torah, that's not in the Injil, that only a select group of people know, that we can ask him about these things and he won't have the answer for. They said, okay, why don't you stay and we'll let you know by tomorrow. So they put their heads together, they get a few questions, and they said, if he answers these, then he's a prophet. No, for sure, because they knew that he was a prophet. We have to understand that there's some Christians, like Buhaira, right? He knew, and there's other Jews that knew that Muhammad ﷺ was a prophet, right? That's why he said when Abu Talib took him to Asham,
Oh,
he
Bahira?
said, he said, take him after the long story. You guys can look up the story. Take him back because the Jews find him. They're going to assassinate him because this is the prophet. Right? So, yeah, why don't you guys put on a plate more or something? So, that being said, they asked him the 3 questions, right? They said, question number 1, who were the sleepers of the cave? And this is the reason why Surah Al-Kahf was revealed. This is the reason for revelation of Surah Al-Kahf. Who were the sleepers of the cave? Number 2, who was the man who walked from the east to the west? Referring to Dhul Qarnayn. Right? And what is the ruh? Right?
Yeah.
So when they got these questions from the rabbis, they went back to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and in front of everybody asked these questions. And he said, okay, I'll tell you tomorrow. And tomorrow came about and there was no revelation. 2 days came about, no revelation. 3 days goes by, no revelation. So this is when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam starts getting very anxious and he starts getting very worried because this was his time to shine and there was no revelation. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam now says after 15 days he gets revelation. Cool?
Yeah.
He gets revelation after 15 days.
Oh, sorry, you're frozen. We got you fixed. We got you fixed.
All right, cool.
Keep talking.
So in that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals in Surah Al-Kahf, don't say that you're going to do something ghadan, tomorrow, illa in yasha Allah.
What does ghadan mean?
Ghadan means tomorrow. That's why I said tomorrow. Ghadan. This is ghadan.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm not a native Arabic speaker.
Okay, can you let him finish the story, bro?
Don't say that you're going to do something tomorrow, illa in yasha Allah, except that Allah wills. Except that you say inshallah. Now, this is a great example. It doesn't mean Allah was mad with him. You have to understand. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't have a mother, didn't have a father to teach him his deen. So who was the one who taught Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam adab?
Jibreel.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Obviously through Jibreel.
Yeah.
Yes. But the adab, the teacher of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he was along the way, not just teaching Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but teaching us. So this misconception, because I've heard it before, that Allah was mad with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah wasn't mad with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's an opportunity to teach Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's the reason why we're talking about it now, so we can all learn, and we have a platform to tell people about this incident of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It had nothing to do with being mad.
You know what? There's this one thing I was looking at, and this is how I approach it. Aside from Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I always admired Umar ibn Khattab for his unwaveringness. Like, he's just solid in his conviction.
Yep.
Right. So there was a quote I was looking for, and it says this. He says, I am not worried about whether my dua will be responded to, but rather I'm worried about whether I will be able to make dua or not.
Allah.
So if I've been guided by Allah to make dua, then I know that the response will come with it.
SubhanAllah. Yeah.
So and that's kind of the way I look at things. That, hey, I'm gonna make dua because it's all I can do. Beyond that, qadr Allah.
Yeah.
And this goes back to another comment or opinion about Umar ibn Khattab, and he says that the best wealth is contentment, like to be content with everything that Allah wills, like to be content with His qadr. And I think if you can have that, if you understand, because I think there's another one where he says, I don't know what is good, I don't know what is bad for me, I just make dua that you open, you open your ways for me. So in that regard, I think that's how Muslims should look at it, right? That hey, I'm gonna do my effort. Whatever Allah wills, at the end of the day, I know that either I'm going to get goodness in this world or I'm going to get goodness in the afterlife.
Exactly. Yep.
No dua is ever unanswered.
Yes. That's the key point. No dua is ever unanswered.
Yeah.
That's true, because
dua, only astajib lakum, right?
Yes.
So this ayah that he's telling you, Allah loves when you make dua to Him.
Yes.
Right? So that's how I look, and I think that kind of ties into your aqidah. Like what you believe in terms of I know I have yaqeen that Allah will never abandon me.
Yeah.
And there's another hadith of the Prophet that says, assume of your Lord good things because He is as if you assume Him.
And that's where I want to head on to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you envision your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Like when you are...
That's a deep question.
When you're having that communication, when you're in trouble, going through job losses...
Bro,
whatever.
I'll be honest. For me, maybe I'm oversimplistic. But everything else, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, that's it.
Alhamdulillah, yani, I mean, hey, I think of, I think about all the blessings.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, I have food, I have my hands, I have my eyes, I can make salah. He didn't make me a kafir.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, can you imagine being a kafir? I'm serious.
Yeah, dude.
Sometimes I can't imagine wake up in the morning and say, I don't believe in Allah.
Yeah, dude.
Like, you know how crazy
It's scary.
that is?
Yeah.
It's very scary.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, alhamdulillah, I can say, alhamdulillah, alladhi hadana. I mean, that he made us Muslims. You know what I mean? Like, for me, that's like amazing.
Yeah, dude.
I can wake up and I can, there's an ayah in the Quran where it says, on the day when they'll be raised, they won't be able to make sujood.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
me, that's like amazing.
Oops, sorry.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, that's, I heard my own voice. I'm like, that's amazing. No.
He was checking to make sure it recorded. Yeah.
No, but the thing is, the reality though is that, like, for me, I know it's over. I know I'm trying to be like, it's cliche. Think of all the good things you have, but in reality,
But that's the reality though.
But look, Allah tells you in the Quran, we will test you with certain things.
Yeah.
We will test you. Surah Al-Baqarah, right? We'll test you with hunger, with poverty, with sickness, whatever it may be, right? So you know
with
it's
women.
coming.
Don't forget about women.
With women too, children, women and children, and more women. Yeah, we know that. Okay, but
women are trouble, bro. Wallah, they are.
Especially women.
Wallah, he says wallah, they are.
Wallah maskhara. Yeah, no, but the thing is, but all I'm gonna say is this though. So how do I look at it, me personally? Because I've been to a position to where, what I say I remind myself when something really hits me. I tell myself, I meant to be qadr. I believe in your qadr.
Yeah, that's it.
Like whatever it is, I'm content. I may feel like crap right now, but I know that I have to go through this.
That's it, and that's the
and
reality.
So I remind myself. I say, listen, you know what? I don't know what's good for me. Who am I to say that I know what's good for me?
Yeah.
You know how sometimes you know what I feel like.
It requires the humility to say that.
But here's the thing, though. I noticed that some people, and this is from personal experience, have spoiled their relationship with Allah because they put this thought in their mind, and when it doesn't happen, they ruin it. For example, there are people who may want something so bad.
Oh yeah.
Every single sujood they make, it's like, they'll say Subhana Rabbil Ala, Subhana, and they say, oh Allah, give me this. I mean, it becomes repetitive, right?
That's
and
me.
then they've been doing it for months and months and months. It doesn't happen, and they almost feel like this heart
burnt out. Yeah,
that's me.
Yo, more. I want to tell you something. So you mentioned that. So when I went to Hajj, right? I had the the quad S stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like my boy, he had it for 7 years. So he told me, hey Maheen, make your dua for it like every tawaf. Like
swear for that quad S to be removed.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
For those who don't know what quad S is, it prevents you from entering into.
Basically, Maheen was suspect.
You get anal cavity searched.
Yeah. Basically, every time you fly, it's extra screening. But so my friend was like, "Listen, if it doesn't happen right away, don't blame Allah for it." Right.
By the way, just don't blame him.
You know what I'm saying? Like he told me, right? He's like just like talking up to. Just say you screwed something up. You probably like did tawaf without wudu or something. Who knows, right? You didn't realize, whatever. Anyway, so
that's a good point.
And so when I was coming back, so the connection was from Dubai to Chicago. I saw the quad S, and I was like, oh man. And I didn't say it, but it was like that sinking feeling.
Like, oh man, my dua wasn't accepted.
Yeah. But then it had to kick in for my trip to Columbus, where I actually booked my full, in 2 months. Then it was gone. Because it's like I wasn't expecting it. Because I was expecting it in Dubai, right? I was expecting it in Dubai, and it was like, and I got that oh man reaction. Yeah. And then I was like, when I was flying to Columbus, and 2 months later, and I got to the airport like 3 hours early because you just have to, just because you have no idea how long you're gonna be like on the phone, waiting for them to clear you. And it was like right through, and it came out without the quad S. Alhamdulillah, I haven't had it since.
Yeah, man.
I can't believe that you made so much dua for that, though. I mean, I would have spent so much more time on like other.
No, I'm sure it's other things, but it can be stressful.
My wife's a gynecologist. I don't need money.
Yeah, that's true.
I
love the brutal honesty, bro.
But don't you want a son?
Not really. I don't. I'll settle for a son-in-law, I guess.
Who's going to carry on your Bengali family name?
Nobody.
Wait, you think Maheen even cares about that, dude?
Actually, his family name is Islam. Like,
it's
completely
already there.
Like blends in with everyone.
Yeah, you think I'm here,
Mr. Islam.
That's actually pretty.
But
I'm gonna be dead, by the way. So my friend, I have a friend, right? He has 6 daughters. Since you mentioned this whole carrying the name thing, right? So my friend's like, after daughter 4, he was like, I think I should have stopped at 3. And I was like, you think? So, anyways, every year I go back to Columbus. He's got his wife's knocked up again, right? And he's like, finally at number 6, and he calls me up. He's like, hey man, I'm depressed. I'm like, why? It's like, man, I think I'm done, but like, I really wanted the son. I was like, why? because like someone's gonna carry my name on. And I'm like, why you care, bro? Like you're gonna be dead anyways. You're gonna know.
Yeah.
Nah, I wanted a son really badly just because I wanted, that father-son relationship. And I was a little big baby about it, bro. Every single prayer. I'm like, ooh, dude, when the lady did the ultrasound?
Yeah.
Man, and she told me it's a boy, I just did sajda right in front of her, dude.
SubhanAllah.
I was jumping off the wall. Because I had 3 daughters before.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done sajda until the baby came out alive, by the way. But anyways. Because, they
Wow, what a mood killer.
I mean, just saying.
You're like Debbie Downer.
No, that was actually that's
actually
Maheen,
Maheen
bro.
manslaughter.
That's Maheen.
I mean, that is
No, I'm
not.
just kidding. No, but listen, he brought a point though. He said the key point though. The guy said, "Don't be upset,"
Yeah, man.
and that's true because we feel like Allah owes us something.
Yeah, dude.
Like, oh, I made this dua, now you have to do it. Like, nah, homie, he doesn't owe you anything.
Wait, what about the hajj though? Isn't that like an arrow at the target?
No, I'm
of deal?
thinking it's a good. That's when Allah is nearest to you. It's good, yeah. It's a good arrow target. But I'm just saying, like, look, it's like this, bro. Can you go and put in a request to your boss and just demand that he gives you time off, whatever? You can't do that, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
So the thing that is making me like almost irk and cringe but laugh at the same time is like, it's just like a target and you just throw it up and it's like arrows and you just. I was like, bro, when someone, I know you're trying to play devil's advocate.
Bro, we're being stupid on purpose.
I know,
right?
I know.
You know that. Like,
I know. That's why I said it's funny. I'm laughing about it. That's why I said I'm laughing about it.
maybe that's why Allah doesn't accept his dua.
bro.
What's up, dude?
What?
No, because one of the conditions is sincerity, right? Maybe you're not sincere.
You have to understand.
No, you know
Sincere.
what? No, listen, hold on. Let's talk about it for a moment. I'm gonna call it sin. Because even when we're praying, Allahu Akbar,
listen.
and there's someone behind us, Allahu Akbar.
What do I after we're done praying?
He's like, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah.
That's what the Sheikh does, dude. I'm just trying to
And then
emulate the Sheikh, okay?
No.
And he
say
does
Assalamu
it
alaikum.
all the time when we're in Jama'ah.
No.
When he's by himself, he never does it.
Rabbana, he goes, Rabbana wa lakal hamd. And I'm like,
You're supposed to announce it loud
Okay,
enough
fine.
for people to hear the background.
no, but when we're finished is the worst, bro. Especially if we have a guest sometimes. When we had like
Ghilan or
we had
someone?
Ghilan and we had all these other guys.
Yeah.
Only we know because he does this. Assalamu alaikum. I turn around. It's like, astaghfirullah. And then he looks up at me with a smirk, bro. That's messed up. That's why it's sometimes hard to take this seriously. But I know what you mean.
Look, Ishba, I try to emulate.
He's trying to
I try
justify
to
it right now.
I try to emulate the imam. Okay, even the qiraat, and my kids don't like it because they said the qiraat makes them laugh, and I do it perfectly. Like, the IFS imam, he's got a very deep voice. So I was doing that, and the kids, my kids are like,
He
don't.
tries to read like Sheikh Nasser at home. He
No,
tries to read like Sheikh Nasser at
No,
home.
so I tried to recite like him, the Quran, the surahs.
Can you give us an example of how you do it? Can you give us a sample? Hold on. Can you give us a sample of how you do it?
Yeah.
No, I figured, it was
No,
just
you
like
have
an
to do it now,
homage.
bro.
No, I don't.
Wait, can you stand up and just show us how you do the takbir and how you do everything?
No, I'm not going to get up. I'm not going to
just
make a
do the
fool out of
whole
myself for you.
takbir.
I'm not a clown.
But as far as dua is
Kinda,
concerned, guys, look. Even if you make a dua, you have to remember that Mort said something very, very accurate and very beautiful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always accepts the dua. But just because you're making dua, it doesn't mean that he's going to accept it the way you want it to be, because he's going to do what's good for you, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you make dua for something, sometimes that thing isn't good for you, so he's not going to grant it to you. That's one. And that's a type of accepting of a dua. The other is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be protecting you from something else and make you realize it later that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected me from something even though I didn't ask for it, but it was through another dua that you were making. Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to delay because he wants you to have the grandeur of having it in Jannah and not having it in this world.
Yeah.
Because if you have something in this world, yeah, it's cool. But what type of grandeur would it be that Allah is delaying it for us? So I think the relationship, the thing that you're talking about, I think I'm kind of like more in that, that I'm very simplistic about it. And I know that anything that happens, that it's from Allah, and I have everything that Allah does is with wisdom that surpasses our wisdom, obviously. But we have to understand that some people, just because they feel are very anxious about certain things, we have to remember, we can't take this out of the possibility that people have all types of issues, even though we're willing to not admit it or not. There may be some anxiety, depressive issues that we're having that are affecting it. Like I was speaking to a really, really good friend of mine, you know, and he's in Texas, and he's a therapist and a clinical psychologist, and he was telling me that there's some people that they have a certain type of OCD and they're religious, that they do their wudu over and over and over and over again, spending like an hour doing his wudu. Now that's not actually a issue with him having a false concept of Allah. It's actually a medical issue that he needs intervention for, right? So some people actually, and a lot of us, need medical intervention for even the type of relationship we have with Allah.
Yeah,
you can't take that out
especially
of the equation.
Desis, bro. They have like an obsessive, crazy mentality. Like you see how what kind of mess they make in the wudu thing.
That's a cultural thing, but I'm saying that there's even medical issues that people confuse it with them being bad Muslims, but it's actually a medical underlying issue that they have. But yeah, Desis and spilling the water. What were you saying?
I mean, like, you know, it's the ankles. Bro, I got the ankles, but then they go to the calves and they're making a big splash.
Dude, I don't make wudu in any masjid anymore, bro. I make it at home because it's just filthy.
No. I understand that, but this crazy notion that, you know what, if a drop of water doesn't hit the right area of my body, my salah is invalidated.
No, but you know what I think that comes from? I think it's deeper, dude. I think that's a more of a theological thing where, unfortunately, it's, with some deities that come from a certain school of thought, they are led to believe the harder something is, the
more closer they get to God.
Yeah, the more reward and ajr you'll get. And unfortunately, that's a very wrong way of thinking. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and that causes them to do things extreme. Like, I mean,
yeah. No, I think, but even that has to be a little clarified. I know what you mean, but it's the bare minimum things that are meant for Islam are not supposed to be overly excruciating. Like, for instance, somebody, they want to sit in a certain position. That's going to be more. I met people like, I want to sit like this because more painful than if I sit just a regular way that we learn in the Sunnah, because the more pain that's in it, there's more ajr. That's one thing. But if someone's saying, you know what, I want to walk to the masjid this time, it's going to be a little more difficult, but I want to do it like once a year or something. That's something you're not going to stop somebody from doing. You say, hey, you're not going to be. But there's certain things that are already, Muhammad ﷺ showed us, that it's actually an easier way of doing it. They want to almost override that with doing a more difficult version of that. That was not even in the Sharia. That's very, very problematic, and that's what we see culturally. You know, sometimes that they want to do something, even though it's prescribed for us, but they want to do it in a more difficult manner. You know, and that can be pretty toxic, dude. That makes people hate the deen sometimes.
So let me ask you something. So I know, me and I'm a simple people. We're like really simple people. I know you're not very simple. I know you're not satisfied with the answer that it's qadr Allah. So how did you look? I mean, look, I know you're the kind of guy that wants to overanalyze and be like, why didn't it happen?
Yeah,
I should have done this. I should have done that. Maybe why is Allah testing me?
Yeah, and I make the dua and the tahajjud, and I want it accepted.
Yeah, inta majnoon. That's why. I mean, go ahead. But why don't what goes through your head?
So I feel like, you know what?
Do you feel disappointed?
Yeah, someone's unhappy with me. Like, what did I do wrong?
So how do you know when he's happy? When he gives you something?
Yeah, it's like I'm a little kid.
So it's like a gift, like
gifts.
This is a transactional relationship.
So what if he gave you Corona? Would you be happy? Would you think he's happy with you? Look at the gift, you know.
Corona?
Yeah.
Did you already have Corona in like January?
I think I already had that, dude. It's half my lungs.
No, but I'm saying but so help me walk. No, real joke. I mean, real talk. Help me walk through this. So you make a dua. Let's say you want like a new.
Here's what. Go ahead.
Let me give you a real example.
Okay, good.
Let's say, la qadar, you lost your job.
Yeah.
Okay, and you really want this next job.
I like that example.
And you got it's a perfect job for you. Like everything's good about it.
And I'll add on to a real life thing that happened. I made dua like crazy to get a job, and then I finally get the job. 3 months in, I get fired from the job. It was a contract. You know, they can just fire you whenever.
Right. So you were kind of the job was what you.
So I thought, I'm like, oh my god, that's it, and then turned out to be.
So how did you navigate through that? Because
I was really upset. Crazy. I was like, hey, we had an agreement, big guy.
Don't say this.
But you know,
anthropomorphism at play.
Oh, but anyway,
we had an agreement. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, we thought we had I did the requirement. I don't know when it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
you know,
4 months ago. No,
hey, let's not degrade me to this.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but
10 years ago, like, you know, when I was young, and you guys remember when I had that long extended period of job when I would now job
was that
for
when
like,
we were like just wilding out?
it was
at
like
the
06 or 07.
Yeah. Anyways. So
Remember.
how did you? Okay, but I don't want to use that example because that's like 10 years ago. Like,
you've grown from that. Have you said you haven't changed from that?
I'm saying it's not that I haven't changed. I'm just saying that kind of mentality is within a lot of us.
Yeah,
we're
said
expecting.
The key thing. You said agreement. Who said we had an agreement?
Well, that's what the arrow at the target said.
No, not really. You made that up.
Well, let me ask you.
Sometimes Allah gives you something just to test you with it. It doesn't mean you had an agreement. Like, did you? Nobody really talks to Allah.
Yeah.
Right. That's what iman and that's what aqidah is.
Yeah.
That you know Allah is, and that's it. After that, the rest you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like you and me had this conversation before. You could do whatever you want to take care of your kids, but at the end, it's only Allah that's.
Yeah.
Whether in the misconception, I'm going to let you just. I'm sorry because I know you want to say something.
Just
because something's go bad, it doesn't mean Allah is not watching over you and Allah is not helping you and protecting you. Just because some people think that wait, something bad happened, so that means He's not in control of things. That's not what that is either.
By the way, I said big guy was a slip of the tongue.
I know it was. That's why we were joking.
I was Ahlul Kufar, they talk like that.
Does he have number one question to Simas? Does he have to take a shahada again?
No, he good. Man.
Okay. Second question was.
At least he have to make tawbah though.
Astaghfirullah.
I mean, as far as do you find yourself as one of those people that like something's got to be really? Because I find myself, I don't really make real dua. So I'll make dua in Ramadan or go to Hajj or Umrah, right? Because you're in the spot. There's nothing else to do, right? What are you gonna do with like
the sweet zone?
Yeah, you're in a sweet spot, right? But in general, I don't find myself making real dua unless I really need something. Are you like that too?
What are you classifying as dua? We'll move on to you, but what is dua to you?
No. Well,
like where I'm actually saying maybe asking for something very specifically.
Okay, but
are you making conditional where you're actually sitting down or after prayer you're holding your hands up?
That kind of thing, right? Or I remember when I'm in sujood, etc. That's when I'm like, for example, like right now I'm on furlough, but I'm chilling, man. Unemployment is like the best thing ever. There's that CARES Act, right?
That's good. You're not worried. That's a good thing.
But it's like I don't, and I'm dabbling in different things here and there, but I'm not like making dua for anything. I'm like,
no, but I'm what I'm saying is like in your salah, but you wouldn't make a dua like Rabbana atina fid dunya, like a generic one.
I do that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a dua.
But it's not like I feel like
I get what you're saying, but I mean, obviously, the general dua that you make is for goodness, right? In this world, and I mean, of course, there's gonna be moments in your life where. For example, in Salatul Istikhara, where you're really praying about something, or you have something in your mind, or for your children, or for marriage. Those things are obviously life changing, and you're going to be more specific about those. Okay. That's generally, I think, what most people fall into. Otherwise, there's a general dua they make for their.
But that's why I was asking.
And I always make dua in my salah, always for like to protect me from adab al-qabr.
Yeah, man.
And I thought, and
the shahada at the end.
Yeah. Because that stuff is, man.
But that's always like default, though, isn't it?
Of is,
I'm with you on that, bro. That's one of those things I don't like talking about, bro. Listen, bro. Even when it comes to grave stuff, man, I don't like talking about that.
I want to be buried next to Adam because he's holy, bro. I mean, hopefully the breeze will from his.
Catch the breeze.
Yo, no, man.
No, but I'm
just the grave life is scary.
No,
bro.
but I'm saying like for me, I'm really afraid of the adab because that's when you're truly in darkness and alone.
And everyone's away from you.
Yeah, there's nothing you can call to, and you're in that for until the day of Yom Al-Qiyamah, bro. You know what I mean? Like that stuff that I'm deathly afraid of. Anything, I'm like, dude. And there's some hadith with like some things that will make you get punished for, And like, anyways, the point being is, I make dua for that, like the stuff that terrifies me.
Yeah.
The
reason I was laughing, but
the last time I think I made dua like out of nowhere. So at my job, right? There's one bathroom that
it's not a confession time anyway.
No.
But
so like there's one bathroom underneath my office, right? And I didn't realize the handle was busted.
So you lock yourself in the room?
Yeah, and
it's like staying in the unit while he was in the whale.
But it's like one of these. It's not like a main bathroom. It's like a one that has like a single one that no one. I use it because in general, like the Neanderthals don't hit it up, and so therefore you don't have like stains and stuff. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I knew about it. It's like a secret bathroom that like not a lot of people know about.
So you can do your bit like number 2.
Right. It has like a power. Yeah, it's a power flush and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't. The handle had snapped off, and I didn't realize it until I was already in. I couldn't, and I was trying to bang. You know how you try to bang the door to try to get it to like, and then
the doorknob fell out.
There's no right? Yes. So then, and it was like, and then I had also my cell phone was at like 3% charge.
Oh,
I had my phone on me, and like it was no signal either. It's like really bad signal.
Is it a wooden door?
No, it was like steel. It's all steel, right? So like, and then there's like some vents and stuff. So I started banging on random walls, and some of my coworkers had their office on their side. They were like, "Oh," and then later, I was just wait. So I was like trying to like send messages or stuff to people.
No reception, probably.
Some of it was going through, but they weren't really like catching. And finally, after like 15 minutes, somebody like walked in. But I remember I was making dua to like, what the hell? I'm gonna be freaking stuck in this freaking bathroom, and they're gonna find me dead in like 48 hours.
No, you wouldn't die in 48 hours. You could live for a lot longer than that.
You know what I'm saying? I would have been
The
drinking that
reason
tap
why-
water.
The reason why I asked about,
Yeah.
because some people think that even though it's a very, very good way to do dua, they think that they have to actually sit down after salah and make dua. Sometimes you're thinking about something, you just make dua, either it's from your heart or you
Right.
may even use your lip. That's still dua. That's what
Yeah.
Allah
So
subhanahu wa ta'ala
you know,
wants us to use
sometimes
to,
I
right?
often find myself like in the middle of a day, like if I see something that make, if I like somebody watching video and it's like you know, a mother's love for a child, I just make dua for my mother right there.
Yeah, dude.
You know, like just random. Like I speak to Allah like on a you know on a
Yeah.
like, you know in the day I have time to read some Quran. I'll come across some ayah and just make a dua like
Yeah, man.
because I mean so a lot of people think that dua has to be made like in the salah or you have to be
Right.
just in front of the qibla and you have
Yeah.
to be, but you can make dua anytime.
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
like and I'm the kind that does that. I don't think about, oh my god, in this salah I have to make this dua.
Yeah.
When it comes to me, I just make the dua
Yeah.
and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, but I think those to me are the most sincere ones because in that moment you feel that,
Yep.
right? Like, otherwise sometimes.
How often have you thought of something from your heart and it happens and you actually never made dua
Dude,
for it?
I was just gonna say this. There's been so many times in my life where Allah has pulled me away from things that I didn't like. I could have never gotten out of. Ever.
Yep.
I mean, but Allah just made a way. Like
Yep.
it was perfectly
Yep.
timed or perfectly done. I mean, whether it's been like missing from an accident or like, I mean,
Wait, you jumped the scene of an accident?
no, I mean like I just get
Pulled
no.
John Jones?
Protected, the accident should have went all the way
Yeah, it
through
should
and
have
you
happened
got
to me.
saved. Yeah.
Like, I'll give you
Oh,
an example.
okay,
I'll
okay.
give you an example, dude.
I
One
thought
time,
you know how John Jones ran away from the accident.
No, I know that.
Hoping
No.
that he didn't get accepted.
No,
he
but
didn't
this
get
is
busted.
he
no.
did that because he'd rather be
Yeah.
caught for
than
fleeing
cocaine.
Than
Yeah,
drunk
but he
driving.
just got
Yeah.
caught recently just trying to, you know, help, you know, drunk people while he was drunk driving. He's trying to help a bum while he's I don't know, stupid idiot. Anyways,
That
he's done.
recently,
What a waste of a dude. That guy has lana on him, bro. Anyways,
By
listen.
the way, he helped a whole bunch of people out in the protesters. He
Yeah.
he
No, that's
protected a lot of
different. I'm
business.
talking about when he was
Yeah.
driving drunk in the lockdown where he wanted to help a bum out. He
Yeah.
walked out of his car and that's how they busted him.
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
god.
yeah,
Yeah,
You don't know about
he
that?
just. I mean, he was
Yeah.
doing a good thing, but he's stupid. Like, how would you have everything in the world? Anyway,
No,
dude.
he's shooting a firearm too.
Alhamdulillah, Allah did not make me like John Jones, dude. Anyway,
I mean,
but the thing is this though. I'll give you an
dua right
example.
there, bro. That's a dua right there.
So check this out. We were on 290. My cousin Haris, you know, we just went to the city. We're coming back. I'm driving on the highway. I'm driving his car.
Does he watch this podcast or does he listen to the podcast?
I don't remember.
All right,
If
go
you're-
ahead.
If you're listening, I miss you. I love you. But listen. So we're driving back at 290. Bro, we're driving. And for those of you that don't know, 290 is the highway. It goes east and west. East goes to the
AKA
city.
Eisenhower.
Huh?
AKA Eisenhower.
Yeah, Eisenhower.
Expressway.
That's the... Whatever. Eisenhower.
What's going on?
Anyways.
Anyway, go ahead.
So we're heading on Eisenhower West. And then we're coming back to the suburbs. And so I'm driving in this car. And I see this, like... You know, people flying this road on
Yeah,
Saturday night. They're
right.
flying.
Mhm.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
So this guy's waving out of traffic. I see this guy, and it's funny because I'm driving. I had braked. I was speeding too. I used to fly, you know, we fly on the highway. As young kids, I'm like, you know, going 100, easy on 290, who cares? But I saw the state trooper. So I braked a little bit. And I see this guy behind me just gunning it. You know, you can see in the nighttime, you can see someone coming real fast from the headlights. And I'm like, oh, this state trooper's gonna get him. He's gonna get him. Yeah, boy, he's gonna get him. Lights gonna come on. But the state trooper took the exit. I'm like, damn, he didn't get him. I thought he was gonna get him. But the thing is that, subhanAllah, dude, that state trooper made me brake, right? State trooper takes the exit to Central Avenue. Right after that, this guy was trying to make a speed lane change. He hits a UPS truck.
Oh my lord.
Truck goes, one car, no, I'm sorry, there's a car here, hits this car, hits the end of it. So this car goes in the median here. He bounces off this car, hits the UPS truck, forces the UPS truck to go all the way to the right and go on the shoulder. He goes to the shoulder, through the grass, hits a light pole, and the light pole starts coming down, right? If I was speeding, I wouldn't have had enough time to brake, but I was able to brake watching this whole thing. The thing stopped literally right. It fell right in front of the car, the hood.
Subhanallah, man.
But if I didn't see that cop in that moment at that time and hit that brake, that light pole would have probably fell on top of the hood of the car. And me going 100 miles an hour probably would have decapitated me.
Wow.
So the things like that.
There's no such thing as a coincidence.
I don't know if
think-
you were decapitated, but you might have one of those
Dude.
big bumps, that's in the Looney Tunes.
The cartoons.
Right above your head.
See, this is why his dog don't get accepted, bro.
Astaghfirullah, bro. Don't say
No,
that.
because he doesn't take him serious.
But hey, more on that one thing you were saying about like sometimes you're walking. I've actually noticed that some days when I'm in a better spiritual zone, that I will feel like, so I was in Philadelphia a couple years back for a work conference.
Germantown?
Before I did go to Germantown, but I was actually staying downtown.
Okay.
And so I was walking. Philadelphia has like a ton of homeless people, right? And I saw some dude like walking around like no legs, like on crutches. Ooh. And I remember I made dua like right then that I was like that I was protected from like not having like all my limbs are fucked, that kind of thing, right? But I also remember back then that at that time I was like kind of in a zone back then, like as far in general.
You were reading Sea Without a Shore.
Yes, exactly. I was reading Sea Without a Shore. You were absolutely right.
But you know what I noticed too though? If you make time for yourself to reflect, you're open and softer to make dua, like your heart's soft to it. In the life that we live, we're so busy, like just reading this, TV this, going out here, going out there.
Netflix that.
You don't, but you don't have time for yourself to think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so you can't reflect on anything because some of this dua comes from reflection. Sometimes Allah puts it in your face.
You got to embrace boredom.
But sometimes there's tadabbur, and you have to like think about it, right? You have to like. You know,
whoa, wait, what's a tadabbur?
No, tadabbur is thinking deeply. No, tadabbur also, look.
These guys always flex with their Arabic.
No, it's actually not flexing with Arabic. You're just saying common stuff for most people. Kind of understand. I'm just joking, bro. I swear to God.
He called you out.
I didn't call you out, bro.
Hey, Sheikh, are you flexing right now?
No, we all make fun of each other. No, dude, I ain't flexing.
But you
I
make
got a
fun
beer
of me?
belly. No, but check this out. Check this out, bro. What was I saying? Darn it, I forgot.
Tadabbur. Why?
Yeah, it's gone, man.
But what does it mean though?
Real smooth.
Huh?
He's
No, I
even
forgot.
you're ruling his holiness.
No, I completely forgot.
Yeah.
Your negative influence.
But
is
it's
even-
perfect. I do have another related to this topic. Is like I've heard some people say that like the dunya is a we're all burdened with something, right?
Yeah.
And that if we're living too comfortably, then just be on the lookout because you're about to get burdened with something.
Yeah.
Right? So some people say, I've heard some shiuks say that you should, for example, going back to the original example that Sim was given about the brother who didn't want to donate or didn't donate, for example, right? Mm-hmm. That you look for ways to burden yourself. I mean, you manufacture your own burden. So kind of like you're covered. I don't know if have you ever heard that before?
No, but say one thing that you said that you're actually burdened with something in this world.
Everybody
You started off, you prefaced it with something. I didn't get that.
Like everybody is burdened with something. The dunya is the nature of the dunya is to be burdened, right?
Okay, that's what you mean.
In some ways, right? So if you're in a phase of life where you feel like everything's great, you're comfortable, man, you're getting laid every night, you're making bank, salad on point.
My kids aren't watching.
Money's good, women are good.
Yeah, everything's good. Yeah, everything's good. Then you better believe something bad's about to happen.
Oh, I think
right, like a burden.
Oh,
Like
yeah, that's happened to me. That's happened to me. I'm like, everything's too good. Something bad's gonna happen.
No, but I wouldn't think that. Like, oh my God, God's gonna hit me now. I mean,
no, but like,
no, but the thing is, like, I get what you're saying because I think that comes from the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah where it says, "We will surely test you with wealth and food."
But you're saying that there's a role. You're on a roll right now.
You're on a roll, and so like in that moment, you should like if people are like become heedless because they're tending in that role, you might become heedless, or you might like still be doing your prayers and stuff, but you should manufacture some kind of burden. For instance, something that makes you like a burden would be something that you may donate some extra, something that makes you uncomfortable.
Of course.
Or for example, like you go with those Ohala brothers and go into the hood at night, outreach in a burial or something.
Yeah. So one thing is I know exactly what you're talking about now. The first thing is anytime we're on a stretch, whether we're on a good stretch or not, we're always thinking Allah. Mm-hmm. You always have to.
I was gonna say shukr.
Yeah, you have to. You have to, right? That's what Allah says in the Quran that if you ask Allah for or you thank Allah, He'll give you more of whatever, right? So the first thing is you have to do shukr, and the other is that you give. That's where charity comes in. You give, as Allah mentions, that lan tanalul birr, that you're not going to take upon which is good. حتى تنفقوا ما تحبون, that you give from what you love, right? So those two things is actually thanking and giving. That's all you have to do, especially if you're on a roll. Now, does it mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the mindset I don't want to happen from what you said. It shouldn't mean that, things are going too well, and as long as you get on a long streak, Allah wants it to end. That's not the case here. Mm-hmm. That's not the case. The case here is that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, remember, Allah's going to do what's good for you. If you're on a long streak, what happens after a while? You get heedless about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Mm-hmm. And that can happen, and then all your priorities fall, so sometimes Allah sends you a reminder. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean He doesn't want you to be on a roll. That's not what that means.
And that's something amazing you just said right now, because that reminder is what is pulling you back.
Exactly.
Right? It's pulling you back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Because guess what happens? You start worshiping the dunya instead of Allah.
And every test I've had in my life has always pushed me to newer areas of understanding of how the world works and what my relationship with the world is.
Yeah, wisdom. That's what it is.
That's what it is. And that's the only way you can frame it and how you contextualize it. Because at the end of the day, what I came back to, after so many circular thoughts and, I was joking earlier about, the arrow not hitting the target and stuff like that. But what I was really talking about was,
it didn't hit the target that you set, that you thought was there. But
the arrow hit exactly what it was supposed to hit, because I'm hitting new areas of understanding and elevating my previous station from where I was in life.
MashaAllah, so holy.
You know what I'm saying? One day you'll catch up. So
everyone's holy in their own way, bro.
Be careful what you ask for, though. You know what I've been through over the past year. So,
MashaAllah.
But anyway, what I'm saying is that
strong enough for that. Allah won't give you a test you can't handle.
So when you go into this line of thinking and you figure out, well, what's going on with me and why is this happening to me, and then you start chasing that rabbit, you develop a better relationship with what that pain is, where that pain is taking you.
That's deep, bro.
In the pathways of your mind, in how you interpret things, and how the different relationships you've had, and you start combing through every single thing that you have in your life, whether it's my relationship with you guys on this table. You start thinking about, like, is there anything that I am doing that may be displeasure, that's causing displeasure with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you go through every single relationship you have within your life, and you say, okay, well, who did I hurt, and what would I hurt? How can I rectify the situation, and all these things. And then even though it may not have had anything to do with what
it makes you touch all those bases,
you're still touching everything, because you're making sure that all you got your stuff together,
Yes. So the key thing I think here is reflection.
That's beautiful, man.
Right? When you go through pain and suffering, it helps you reflect.
Yeah.
And it helps you grow, because that's the nature of human beings.
Yep.
What can I do, or what did I do? What was my part in this?
Yeah.
I know Allah has His part in this, but what is because Allah can be, sometimes we're in that state where we don't realize whether something is just a normal test or it's punishment from Allah.
Yeah.
Because our iman is sometimes in a state where we don't know.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out constantly, are we being tested or are we being punished for something? Because keep in mind, especially right now, we live in a time period where every single sin that Allah has punished nations for in the past, we live among that.
Yeah. The whole world now.
Cheating
the whole world.
on the scales, whether it's homosexuality, whether it's arrogance, whether it's open disobedience.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you have, everything you can find.
Yep. And what I also realized was every test is tailored specifically for you.
Yeah.
Every test is specifically because it's not an inch more than you can't handle, because I know there's certain things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could test me with, whether it's disabilities or loss of life, and you're like, whoa, there's no way I could have handled that.
That's why I know I'm a weak person, because
then you're like, okay, well, so then I'm like, wait, so when I'm getting whatever test I'm getting tested with, it's not that bad compared to what Allah subhanahu could have tested me with.
Yeah.
And I know that I wouldn't have failed. I may have failed those, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I say all the time. Like when I look, that's why I say, alhamdulillah, I can wake up, I can breathe,
Yeah,
I mean, because I know for a fact that I am weaker than those people.
Yeah.
Allah knows, because I probably would have breakdowns.
Yes.
I mean, I may look like I'm tough, or I'm a, you know, I have an attitude, but Allah hasn't
You don't look
tested
like
me
you're
with
tough.
anything.
What are you talking about?
Oh, whatever.
But also,
Allah hasn't
I know
tested
what
me
you
with
mean.
something up till
I
yet,
know.
alhamdulillah.
No.
That is so, you know, that exacerbates me, like, where I just can't, like, do, like, some people have some severe test where they have some diseases or facing their own mortality.
That's what I remembered when I was going to say, and I forgot. I remembered now.
and you have to suffer to know what's like to be happy, because it's just like, you know, it's,
you know, sometimes I
suffering.
think about my aunt, Allah yarhamha,
Yeah.
she died. Can you imagine she had cancer, came back after, I mean, Allah yarhamha, she lived a long life, but at that age, she had cancer. It went spread from her breast to her lungs into her brain. But for 3 weeks, because her body was so weak, she hadn't eaten food or even drinking water.
SubhanAllah.
But her body just kept living.
I didn't even know it could spread to the brain like that.
Oh, it can.
Wow.
Yeah, but the thing is that, can you imagine being in a state? I mean, yeah, you're coming in and out of a sakrat al-maut, but the point is that pain
Yeah, man.
of
That's
3 weeks
insane.
without food and
Of
water,
hunger, yeah.
you know, that
Inshallah, it's kafarat al-sayyi'at, man.
yeah, I mean, and I
Inshallah.
believe it. And one thing that was a sign to me, Bishara, that when we were bearing, see, she didn't have, to me, at that time, there were not enough mahram that were strong enough to lift her, so I had to lift her myself in the grave. And over there in Louisville, the masjid over there, like the cemetery, they made an agreement where they don't have to put them in coffins. You can actually just put them in the sheet and
Into the ground.
and put them right in the ground.
Yeah.
So I lowered her, and like her husband that you met, by the way, but like, he doesn't say anything about. He's not even that religious, to be honest, right? But in
He's
that
a dope
moment,
dude, man.
he's looking down and he says, you know, I'm happy with her. I'm pleased with her.
SubhanAllah.
Right? And that, to me, it been like bishara that my aunt, that her husband, like, you know, when a woman dies and her husband's pleased with her, it's a sign for Jannah for her, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So for me, like, that was a sign I took, like, Allah is pleased with her.
Allahu Akbar. Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, when you see that,
Wow. Yeah.
you know, and this woman endured. I'm talking about migrating to a different country, raising her son died in front of her, shot 9 times. And you know
he's the one. I always heard stories about
Muslim.
him.
And when he died, people said, "Oh, the wedding came." She said, "I'm so sad. Are you sad? I feel bad for you." And he said, "Listen, he belonged to Allah, not to me."
Allahu Akbar.
And he gave. Alhamdulillah, he gave me for 18 years of his life.
Allahu Akbar. Wow.
You know, and that's the kind of woman that she
That's
was.
one after the other, man. Allah.
She buried her brother, her father. I mean, 2 younger brothers. I mean, I'm just saying, like, that kind of life, Allah hasn't tested us like that.
Allahu Akbar. No, that's what I remember, man. So Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, he writes in his book that there was a man who he had leprosy, he was paraplegic, his hands and his feet were paralyzed, and he had some other types of diseases where he always had to be carried around wherever he had to go, and he was just doing dua, and he would do dua loudly, and he was blind, and he would do dua loudly. Allah, thank you for all the blessings that you gave me. Thank you for all the blessings that you gave me. So one of the men said to him, like, what are you doing dua about? Like, we always hear you saying this loudly. Thank you. What is he giving you? Right? And he said, he hasn't taken my tongue away from me, so he gave me a tongue that I can remember Allah with, and he gave me a heart that I can love Allah with, right? And OZ told me a beautiful story, man. And this comes back to OZ too, man. Is that Omar Zaman told me a story about somebody who was a paraplegic, and he was, I think he was in Saudi, and he said he says he misses a few things. This individual who was paraplegic, he said that I missed that because he used to have all senses in he wasn't paralyzed. He said, I miss turning the pages of the Quran. I miss doing sajda because I haven't done it for so long. And Oz told me that same exact thing, man. He's like, man, I haven't done sajda in so long. I miss doing sajda.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Our friend Oz has muscular dystrophy and hasn't walked in almost 7 years.
More than
Mark,
that.
10 years, right?
Probably more than that, yeah.
It's probably
I remember
more.
07 was like...
Like
07, I remember.
08, it went start getting bad. So yeah, about 08, yeah.
But he told me that personally. He's like, man, I can't do sajda. I haven't done sajda in so long. You guys don't, that's what he said to me. He said, you don't know how good you guys have it.
Yeah.
It's like you do sajda whenever you want.
And you know what would bother me too? Even despite that disability, being in a wheelchair, driving, he wants to go to the masjid.
Yeah.
And to the point where, like, he even endures the abuse that some people gave him. Like, you know, when you have a wheelchair, there's tires and wheels, and sometimes they pick up dirt. People would complain that he's bringing dirt into the masjid.
Yeah. Or rolling up the carpets accidentally.
So whatever. And he endures
tires.
that because he wants to be just, if he can't make sujood, he just wants to be in the masjid. And I'm saying that kind of stuff, right? I don't know. I mean, and I don't want to speak like negatively, but if I had that, I would have every excuse to be like, you know what? I don't want to work. Give me disability. You know, I don't have to pray anymore. I mean, because I could just pay with my eyes because I don't want to move. Why give us a masjid? I mean, I would make every kind of excuse in the world, right? Man. But there's people who, and this is the thing, when Allah tests you, it makes you reflect on what your own, and sometimes even your own mortality.
Yeah,
like, what am I doing now?
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like, what am I gonna do? It puts things in the perspective.
Yep. Yeah. Testing and death. That's what it does.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, dude. I mean, there's so many things. Even like I'll you know, I don't want to go into details, but there's so many things in life. Can you imagine just being in a foreign country and losing like $35,000 on the spot and have nowhere to like recover that? I mean, for some people, it's not a lot of money, but for someone like me, man, at a young age, like, dude, like, that's just like my heart was in the bottom of my. It was literally in my stomach, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, how am I gonna explain this? Like, how am I gonna even talk about this? Like, but it's crazy, man. I mean, alhamdulillah, Allah makes a way. Literally, I felt bad about it. I prayed Isha. I woke up for Fajr, made my dua, and I said, alhamdulillah, I woke up today.
Yeah, dude.
And that was it. I mean, I felt bad about it for the evening. But Allah gave me the ability to say, you know what? Alhamdulillah, I'm alive.
It made you into a hustler, dude. You're a hustler now, bro.
What's the story? So you lost 35 grand?
Yeah.
When was this?
2011.
He's a hustler now, bro.
Yeah.
Dang. He be selling on Amazon. He be selling on eBay now. He be doing all types.
Yeah.
Folks, help us out on patreon.com/themadmomoops.
Give me money, boys.
We have some amazing episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks. Edward Dutton from Far Right Commentator is going to be coming on the show.
Commentator, I like that.
Commentator? I didn't commentator. Sorry. I'm looking for this man to meet Mr. Dutton, and we're also going to have our boy. Why am I blanking on his name? Our white Muslims guy.
Who?
Robert Dufour.
Robert Dufour.
Yeah.
Le Fleur.
Oh, wow.
Dufour.
Name. You forgot Bob's name?
Bob Le Fleur.
No, I'm just kidding. I love it. I had to do it because, you know, he's a European Muslim. I think, Bob.
Yeah.
You know?
Good
anyway.
My Bob.
Good dude.
Anyway, guys. We'll see y'all next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.